Why would Berlee play that game? That is a beautiful storytelling, obviously infused with African spirituality.
I think he played the game because it's fun and he also got paid to do it. What's going on, everybody? Look, Berlee has got himself into some extremely hot water in the gaming sphere, and I'm here to tell you that I honestly don't agree with this, and I'm gonna stand by my creators for a little bit. Although they have good intentions, your favorite creator is dumb. Your favorite streamer is uneducated. They are ignorant to a lot of the matters of the situation, and I think that instead of attacking, in some instances, we should give them a lot of grace and have great conversation about it. So for you that don't know, Berlee, the gaming streamer, just got hold of a new game, Tales of Kinzira Zhao. I hope that I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but he's facing a lot of backlash because in the game, he made a comment that a lot of people took the wrong way.
Come on with my boy Zhao, bro.
Kalunga, God of death, hear my plea. Kalunga, God of death, come.
I still rebuke it. I don't care, bro. I don't care if bro look like me. You still getting rebuked. I feel like can't be anything good calling on the god of death. Isn't that Hades? No, it's not, because you already got on me last time. Hades isn't Satan, Berlee. Are you stupid?
Now I know what you're probably thinking, Omar, that shouldn't be anything that's getting him canceled. But yeah, a lot of people are trying to hold him over the fire because of that, and we should probably get into that. So the game is clearly a heavily African influenced game. The creative director is Abubakar Salim, who is a British African actor who has deep ties to his cultural roots and wanted to show some of his lineage in the video game sphere. A lot of times we don't get this type of representation in video games or in traditional media in general, especially ones that may be as accurate as this one. You know, of course they're gonna prop up the Wakandas of the world, but we know that Wakanda's a fictional place, so it's good to see that there is some actual good historical representation and ties into the game. Now, did Berlee mistaken himself and say some things that were wrong? Yes, of course. Did he do it with malice in his heart? I personally don't believe so, and I think that a lot of people would agree. However, we're seeing some people push back.
I had to unsubscribe because that's so ignorant and disrespectful. There's a way for you to share your religion with people and not shit on their spirituality. Does he not realize he has a diverse community that's not only just Christian?
Now, I do agree that being a Christian doesn't give you right to shit on other people's religions. Where I don't agree is the idea that there's some sort of consistency and this is where you draw the line is insane to me. If there's true consistency, like you say, you probably should have given him some flack a long time ago and been off the bandwagon. I don't even think that this was egregious enough to hop up off the bandwagon. If you were tired of Christianity, Christian beliefs, or whatever the case may be, hop up off the bandwagon in silence or make a video about it and keep it pushing, but don't take Berlee into the conversation as the reason why you're jumping off this bandwagon. I think a lot of times when you're streaming or you are creating content, you have a lot of words that you have to say over the span of a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, and sometimes it's gonna come off uneducated and you're gonna have to speak on things that you are uneducated about. And especially when people don't know your audience, these things can come off the wrong way if you're not careful as to what you say. Casanat recently got in trouble for saying Black Americans aren't cultured.
All my mods who are not cultured at all. When I'm asking general questions, I'm not asking y'all niggas. Stop dick riding. Y'all niggas is black. You're just black. You're African American, bro. You're not Trinidadian. You're not Jamaican. You're not African.
It's sad because there's a big war in the diaspora currently, and to see that the biggest streamer is even having these sorts of conversations on the internet is totally nasty. And there's a lot of young people who follow him and are going to take this rhetoric and use it in their real life. Now, Kyle would later on clear up and say that that's a joke, but again, you being the biggest streamer in the world, doing this on your main platform, not in some Discord call or not even IRL when the cameras are on, even though you shouldn't say it then, is giving people the opportunity to clip you and bring it out of context. But do I expect, you know, world millionaire, famous, rich Kai Cenat to understand the intricacies of that stuff and also know that he should not be saying those things on a public platform? To be honest with you, no. I don't expect Neon to bleed the Peace Corps. Like, to expect these things out of these young celebrities would be idealistic, to say the least, because ultimately, I mean, without the life experience to know that, hey, this is something that you probably shouldn't be saying right here, they're liable to say anything. Now, don't get me wrong, that does create a place and a space for them to get educated, and as I scroll through Berlee's comments, looking like his chat and his community are doing a great job of educating him about the different cultures that he's encountering while playing this video game. So I gotta do a hats off to them. I believe he had no malice in his heart, and now he's coming out better in this situation. But to the lady that is going to hold his feet to the fire because he's uneducated about this, instead of doing what they're doing, knowing Berlee, I think that she is in the wrong in this situation by taking it to the utmost extreme. Now, with that being said, creators do have a big big platform, and it's nasty to see how their voices can impact others in real time.
I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended. I'm going to have the best immunity possible now, based on the 2.5 million person study from Israel, that the people who get COVID and recover have the most robust immunity.
Now let me pause here because there are some warnings that I must give. That is not real medical advice. Joe Rogan, last time I checked, is a entertainer. He is in the podcasting, television, MMA space. He is not a doctor of any sort. But that's what I mean by the dangerous effects of these big people having these big platforms. Ivermectin was proven to be, especially at the time, heavily used in the veterinarian field. Like, they used it on animals. Not a lot of humans took ivermectin. But we saw a bunch of misinformation from the Rona 19 era, from people telling people what they should and shouldn't do. And this is what we mean by these people aren't educated but still have a big voice. They should be able to say what they want to say. I'm not taking that away from them. But there should be some real deal disclaimers, and honestly, they should feel some sort of duty within themselves to voice things that are based out of factual evidence and be able to provide the factual evidence, like a lot of people must do when they are giving advice in this manner. Same thing with scientific, any sort of thing that should be backed in fact. You should have to prove that. I wholeheartedly believe that to be the case, especially when it can affect somebody's life like in a major way. I'm glad people are going up to bat for people like Berlee, though, not necessarily Joe Rogan, and sticking by his side in times like this because he's gonna need it.
Berlee uploaded a sponsored video where he's playing his game called Zao. It's this 2D platformer game that takes place within like this African type culture. When calling the god of death, Berlee's like, whoa, I rebuke that. I'm not gonna lie, in that moment I was like, yeah, people are definitely gonna be mad about that. I wasn't, because I know Berlin and I know that he doesn't know that much about other cultures and other mythologies and stuff like that. He literally said it in his video. People in his comment section was correcting him when he didn't know who Hades was. Like, Hades wasn't a god of death. He was like a caretaker or whatever they said. Well, I'm just wondering how you gonna get mad at him for not knowing something about another culture that he don't know nothing about.
Now, I do applaud this young man for standing up for Berlee, but what I do have to say is a warning message that one bad joke can lead to another bad joke, and it could grow sentiments of hate or distrust or anger towards groups of people all over. So while I don't think anybody can be perfect, because that's a terrible standard to have people held to, we have to be very careful and open to the criticism of the bad joke, and then dispel and discourage others from taking what you said in the past and bringing out your new identities towards the future. I hope that Berlee plays this game again and, says some very positive things about the African culture. But again, nobody can be perfect. As much research that I do and my team does, I'm not right 100% of the time. Maybe 98, but never 100% of the time. I like to do my due diligence as much as possible, but then how I look at things is through a different lens. So that's why I invite people on my streams every last Saturday at the end of the month in order to come with a counterpoint and we talk through things. Everything should be a conversation. But when we jump down people's throats, especially if we don't believe that they have ill intent like that, it only ends up being bad for people going forward. And while I can give some grace to a lot of people, like in the Michael Porter situation a couple months ago where he compared women's basketball players to ping pong players, I would then again just have to say, look, A'ja Wilson, don't bother talking to him because he is a 20-something-year-old basketball player where he and his supposed family is stupid as hell. There's no need to correct some of these people, but there has to be a positive way to go about educating people in these matters. Or what a lot of these creators can do is start taking the KSI route and just saying, hey, I don't know, gang.
What do you think about the Palestine-Israel situation?
I honestly have no idea what's going on.
I know he's laughing out of nervousness, but I agree with KSI in this regard. I think we've come into an age and an era where, because we have been given so much access to these content creators, we're always going to push for more and more and more. There's no reason why KSI should be asked about Israel Palestine. 30, 40 years ago, would you ask like an OJ Simpson or a Michael Jordan or anybody else about things and conflicts that are going on, not even in their own country, let alone their own hemisphere? You just wouldn't do it. I don't expect KSI to be educated on that. You don't see those types of videos on my channel. You know why? Because I'm not educated in those manners. That's a lot for me to wrap my brain around. Although I have sympathy for people that are losing their lives in the matter, I don't have the bandwidth to go through the details to pick a side, which is a crazy concept in some of these conversations, and then go out there and give an opinion on it. That's a lot for somebody who likes to make commentary videos, likes to play basketball and talk about basketball, and like Star Wars. It's honestly too much, and it's a standard that not a lot of people even hold to everyone in in their everyday lives. Look, I'm all for people getting educated. Like, knowledge is power, truly. And the more you know, the more you grow, and every single day you should try to learn something new. However, people shouldn't be forced to have opinions on everything. And I think that that leaves room for people to say politically incorrect things, but you shouldn't judge them or kill them because they are also able to have the moment to be educated. Like, those people that are understandably okay with being educated, hey, if you have that information, give it to them. Although you may not be a teacher or a preacher, go ahead and deliver why that is okay with them. We have to understand that a lot of people grew up in terrible education systems in America and in these different states. Why do you think that Berlee's American self would know anything about Africa or African culture besides the stuff that he's shown in classrooms, like mud huts and slavery and other things like that? So take the time, educate him, and stop being so harsh on a brother with the sticks, man. Your favorite streamer is stupid, and that's okay. Watch him for streaming and keep it pushing. Let me know you guys' thoughts. What's your meat and potatoes on the situation?